I'm Deanne from Newfoundland, Canada. Welcome to my Flosstube channel, Stitching on the Rock. We are at episode 74, and we are on Monday, May the 25th, I think it is. It's either the 25th or the 26th. Hi, welcome. If you're a new subscriber, thanks for joining my group. If you're new and just checking me out, please subscribe. And everyone, like the video? I hate asking those questions. Sorry I'm late again with putting up the video. I had originally planned to do a very short one last weekend and then be on track for the weekends that my son is at his dad's. But then I realized I'm going to a scrapbooking retreat next weekend, so I can't do a video. So then I said, oh, well, I'll just keep it at 2 weeks. And yesterday just kind of got away from me. What else is new? Sorry, I have a new tablet, and that's the notification sound if you heard it. What's been going on? The weather has been just yo-yoing again. We had a lovely 2 days of 18 and 21 Celsius, and then it was 5 the next day. And it's been up and down and rain and fog and just crazy stuff. Life has been just here going like normal, nothing exciting, fun. My son Aaron, if you're new, is graduating high school in less than a month, and he has to get through final exams between then and now. And he is got autism and ADHD, and so they do a Special Olympics program 1 day a week in the gym lunchtime. And last week they went to one of the schools in the general area. It's about 25 minutes drive from here, for a tournament. I had an appointment that day, so I couldn't go, and I stopped and at a store lunchtime, and my phone rang, and I answered, and this is Aaron. The power went out in school, so they had to call the tournament halfway through the day, and they were going back to their own schools. And he said on the way, the teacher got a call that the power had come back on, but they had already left and weren't turning around. That's about it for here. I know that I mentioned my nephew in my last video, and for those of you who are interested, and well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, my oldest nephew, needed a kidney transplant. Discovered through a physical in 2014. I didn't realize how long ago it was, but it was 2014, and so his kidney function has been going down since then, and he needed a kidney transplant. And on Wednesday, he had his kidney transplant in Alberta. We're in Newfoundland, so it's we've all been tied to the phone and realizing it's a 3.5 hour difference and trying to find out how things have been going. But my sister, his mom, and his dad, my brother-in-law, went up on Sunday, and he checked into the hospital on Tuesday. His donor had her surgery Wednesday morning, and then he had his, and everything has been going great. She was discharged, I think, on Friday, and then traveled home Saturday because they don't live in the same city that the transplant took part in. And then my nephew's still in hospital, but he may be discharged today. And the kidney function is coming up, and his creatinine numbers are going down. They told him it could be a little bit longer because a female kidney going into a male body, plus the kidney is now working to try and clean out his body things that his kidney function wouldn't allow to happen before the transplant. But they're very happy, and so he will have to stay near the hospital for 2 months. They have rented a condo near the hospital because he has to have blood work done 3 times a week to make sure everything is going right. My sister and brother-in-law are up there for the 2 months because him and his wife have 2 little girls, and the oldest one is in school, and so they want to try and keep their routine. So she's home. We'll be traveling back and forth, obviously, but is trying to maintain, daily life for the 2 girls. yeah, so, but we're very happy and sounds like everything is going really well. And yeah, that's about everything that's been happening in life other than you don't want to hear about my laundry, my dishes, my work, or my sister tutoring Aaron over Google Meet in his math, which has not been. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that she's still helping and all that, but when she's here, they go in the basement in our rec room at the table, and I can do whatever I have to do. But now when she's in Alberta and Aaron is here, I kind of have to stick to make sure he's doing what she wants him to do, and that's the thing. And so I guess since you're all here to hear about my cross stitch, let's move on to that. For those of you who are new, I am starting 55 new things this year because I turned 55 a couple of weeks ago, which time just zooms by. I can't even believe we're almost at June. And then, so I've divided my video into pre-2025 whips and 2025 whips. I have no pre-2025 whips this video because, like I said, life has just been crazy, and I have tried to put in a little bit onto a bunch of different whips, so that's what I'm going to show you. Plus, I am going to go into details of my June starts. So let's get started. I have my list of names here of what I'm stitching, and only one of them was in Pattern Keeper, and I only put in 100 stitches in it, so I didn't bother to update the percentage that I have done. I will do it the next time. So up first was my first start from January 1st, October 31st by Cottage Garden Samplings, A Time for All Seasons series. I'm doing 4. This is number 3 out of 4. If I go too fast, if I forget to mention something, if you want to know anything about a pattern, comment below. I'm not a rambler. I tend to present the facts and then that's it. So my videos tend to be a little shorter than some people's. Anyway, I am stitching this 1/2 on 36 count winter moon that I then re-dyed. So if you want to know anything about the dyeing or my process, comment below and I will answer you, and then I'll give a detailed answer in my next video. So here we are. I'm so thrilled. The raven is complete. Here he is. He's looking gorgeous. I just have to complete the pumpkin. I did do a little bit of work on the pumpkin, but not a lot. I think it was just bringing this a little bit down. So there we go. For those of you who have been following along, sorry, I have a new tablet, and that is my notification sound. I am doing a temperature chart. I always show it on my videos. There is no temperature chart this video because I had stitched a whole it's a rainbow supernova one, so burst, whatever you want to call it, 7 days worth of temperatures, and then I started on the next day back at the beginning, and it wasn't lining up, and I'm like, I made a mistake on the very first day of the previous week that I had stitched. I frogged that whole day out, and then when I got to the first day again, I'm like, I don't think I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake in the first day of the next week, and it went in timeout. Hopefully today or tomorrow I will pull it out and see if I can figure out if I made a mistake or not, and I'll show you next video. Next up, from the cover of this magazine has come off because it was from the thrift store. April 2026 Just Cross Stitch. I am doing Seasons in Chalk Spring by Kathy Haberman and Priscilla Blaine. And I'm doing it 2/2 on 28 count Monaco that I dyed, and using all the threads that were called for. And here is where we are. I did not get a lot done on it. I did get more of this tea rose pink in the S, and I completed this outline of the flower. And I'm definitely going to need more chalk thread because it's just eating it up, and I have a whole lot more I need to stitch with it. So next up is Always Remember by Plum Street Samplers. Always Remember by Plum Street Samplers. I don't know what I was trying to say after that. And I put a little bit of work on this. This I'm stitching 1/2 and 36 count, and I think it was just called Blue Gray. I don't think it had an actual name with it. So here's where I am. You can see that I replaced the American flag with the Canadian flag. I had that done last time. This time I did this flower, except for the middle part I have to do. This leaf, and now this is the bottom grass I've started. There is an eagle right here, and I am going to replace it with a poppy. I think I may just skip that and figure out which poppy works there once I get the space, because there is another, like a little bud there too, so I have to work that in. And this leaf here on the pattern is just kind of floating off here to over here to the side. Sorry, I actually stitched the stem to join it in because I just thought a floating leaf looked weird. So that is what I did with that one. Next up, this is the only one that I have in Pattern Keeper. It is called Christmas Wreath by Emma Condon. Sorry, not Erin. Emma Condon, or Stitch Rovia on Etsy, which is where I bought it. But I had originally seen it in a magazine, and in the magazine it was called Season's Greetings. Now I think, and I'm not 100% sure, these are not my Christmas colors. My Christmas colors are red and green and white. So I want to turn this more into something I can have out for the winter. So there are a couple of things I might have to change. The Xmas, the Noel, and the Peace on Earth, possibly the Angel. I haven't decided on her. I take those words out, and I thought maybe I could add some beads and add beads randomly around in some other circles, so it didn't look like it was just stuck in. But I haven't really made up my mind, but that's my thought process. So this is stitched 2/2 on 28 count white even weave, and here is where I am in the whole thing. And what I did is I put in this pink here, which was about 100 stitches. Very easy stitch, just didn't come up on my wheel. Then I brought out my autumn row, which I had finished my day on, I think, the last time I filmed, but then it came up on my when I spun my wheel. And this is done 2/2 on a white even weave that I dyed. And here is where we are now. So I've gotten up to the U and gotten all the extras stitched up to the U. So this is, I think I was starting like partway into the Q the last time you saw it. So this is what I've stitched since you saw it last. Next comes another pumpkin with a bird on it. And the letters won't take long to finish, but then there's another pumpkin and a couple of birds and a leaf. And that is everything that you've seen previously that I have worked on. What I was starting the Wednesday after my last video was For You by Teresa Kogan. Hopefully there's no glare on that. And I tell you, stitching that border around, there's four layers to that border. That was a bit of work. Now I didn't finish the fourth one. This is stitched 2/2 on 28 count. It's called light taupe, or natural, I would call it, linen. So here is where we are. So I got 3 borders done, the 2 that were done in Indian summer, and the one that was done in Palomino, and then the 4th one is black, and I just stitched that across the bottom and a little bit up the side so that I could start on the sheep. Now the sheep is turning out to be very close to the color of my fabric, but I'm hoping that, let me put that behind, I'm hoping that it won't, that it will still be standing out because of the scarf and his eyes, and the inside of his ears are all different. Everybody says that's a lot of white. There's actually no white at all in the sheep. It is stitched with, let me turn it over so I can read the list. It is stitched with 822, 644, 3782, and 3032. So there is actually no white in it at all. So that's where we are. And then this past Wednesday, I started this piece from Cross Stitch. It's volume 5, number 3, if I can get it out. And it is from February 1993. Oh, there it is, and it's done on natural linen. And I've got about 700 stitches in it. I had to do a counting challenge on Whip Warriors, and so I counted 700 stitches, and I'm stitching it 2/2 on 28 count natural linen using 415, is it? The variegated DMC red. Just give me 1 second to bend down. Oh, make sure I got the right number. Oh, it's not in my bag. It's not in my bag. Oh, wrong bag. Maybe it's supposed to be this bag. No, it isn't. Sorry about this. I'm usually well organized, and it should be here with my pattern, but it's not. I'm pretty sure that's the number. Let me just take down my, when I use thread, when I'm done with it, I throw it in this bin, and then I organize it into my, no, it's not, but I think it is 415. It's not the called for. The called for is just a straight DMC. But anyway, here is where I am. This is what I have done. So I have the top. There is a 1-stitch border going all the way around. I have left that out. When I get it all stitched, if I decide I want to add the border line, it's only 1 stitch going all the way around. So, but anyway, this is where I am. So I have the top kind of bordery thing done, and then the first tree, and I'm really enjoying it. I really think this was a bit hard to stitch because you're skipping, so you really have to keep your count on because you're skipping stitches here and there. Oh, lighting, of course. Nothing is working well today, but that is what I have completed working on. Now, on Wednesday, my last start for May is just a cute little start. I'm a big Doctor Who fan, if you could tell by my picture that's up there on the wall. So I'm just doing a little fun watercolory kind of TARDIS. It's by the Nerdy Needle Design Co. on Etsy, and I'm stitching it just 2/2 on 28 count Monaco using the called for threads. So that will be Wednesday's start. Now I'm just going to give you the details of my June starts, but before I do that, I want to do a couple of shout outs. I want to say hi to Amy, Renewing Stitches. She joined me in my birthday sale, which you didn't see here because I haven't worked on it since I showed last time. But it is "Tis the Season" by Blackbird Designs. But she's actually altering the pattern, and it sounds very interesting. And so check out her last floss tube, and I'll link her below if you want to see what she's doing with the pattern. And thank you to Rolanda and Kylie from Rose Crafty Corner, who have shouted me out, mentioned me a couple of times on their last few videos, and so I'll link them below and go and check them out. So June starts. June is, other than the first start, are going to be pretty small pieces because I knew with Erin's exams and graduation that it was going to be a busy month, so I said I'm going to pick smaller things, and I'll get them finished. But first up is I Heard the Bells by Jeanette Douglas, and my partner in crime in my 55 and 25 for 55, Carmen, is joining me with a sal for this one. She's not on Flosstube, but she is on Instagram, and I'll put her Instagram name down if you want to check out her 55 starts. And I loved Darlene's designs, and oh boy, has she come out with a lot in the last month. She broke her shoulder, so she wasn't able to do a whole lot, but she's been designing up a storm. So I will link her Etsy store below and her floss tube, and go and check her out. And then, oh, that is being started on the 4th of June. Then on the 11th of June, I am starting Spring Dream Sampler by Studio HMP on Etsy, and I am going to be doing this on 28 count light taupe even weave. Oh, I Heard the Bells is being stitched on 28 count ivory. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Then on June 18th, for those of you who are new, I am a big Toronto Blue Jays fan. I am a Blue Jays nut. I do like watching other baseball, but mostly the Blue Jays. So I am doing my very first Blue Jays pattern. It's a Toronto Blue Jays gnome, and it is from Neni Design Crafts. Let's see the name there. And I'm doing that on 28 count Monica. And then finally, on June 25th, I am stitching One Stitch at a Time by Stitching with the Housewives, and I am doing that on 28 count black even weave. And those are my June starts. If you have any questions, like I said, let me know down below. I'll do the best I can to answer them all. And I guess I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye.